So hello everyone, in this video we'll be practically working on DOM selectors in JavaScript which we learned in the last video. So let's start with the first selector, which is the ID selector. That we can easily do. Let me just remove the previous code. So basically we also have some topmost element selector as well we learned. So that let me just add a script tag here. Let me just remove this. I can comment this out. So let's just add internal JavaScript now. So we had this, let me just store some HTML here by using document element. So this is the property that we can use to get the HTML element selected. So this is one way to select topmost elements. So I can log this out and show you what is this. Let me just show you that. If I see the console now, I'll be seeing this HTML element now. Why is that? Because we selected the topmost element with this document element property. Similarly, I can select body element by using document.body. So selecting body and head, all those topmost elements is very easy. I can use document.body to select the body element. Now I can console log this one as well, the body element. If I do that, so I'll be seeing the body element as well. Now we can see body element. Similarly, we can select head element by using document.head, and I can similarly console log that as well. Now you can see this is head element. If I expand this, I can see all those methods and properties that I can access on that element. Now you can see that. So all these are the properties and the methods that I can use on this element. So basically it is that. Similarly, I can apply any kind of styling, any kind of JavaScript operation on these elements that I want to add. Let's say if I want to add a background color on the body, that I can do. If I want to get something from HTML, that I can do. If I want to add some classes, so that I can do easily. Let's just add a simple background color because that we already know. But in the future videos, we'll be learning more about JavaScript, like how we can add custom CSS classes, or we can remove the CSS classes, how we can do that. So that is very easy. So I can use body dot simply style dot background to add a background color. Let's say add a background color of light blue. If I do that, so it should add a background color blue. I can see it is adding a background color blue. So this was one way to add CSS styling, or you can do any kind of operation on these elements now. So this was one way to select topmost elements. How can I select this element with this ID? So it is very easy. I can store it in a variable, or I can directly add a operation on that. Let's just store it in a variable. That will be more clean. So it is very easy to select elements with an ID. We can just use document.getElement by ID. You can see my ID is also suggesting me get element by ID. Inside that, you just have to specify the ID as a string. So the ID is heading. In this case, you can see that I have this ID heading. Now if I just save it, and also if I console log this element heading, if I see that, Now you can see we have this heading element, and it will show you all those things which it contains. So it has different properties and methods that we can use. Let's say if I want to console log the text content, that I can also do by using console log. Let's just add that. So the text content inside the h1 element, that if I want to add or show, that I can easily do adding dot text content. If I see that, I can see it is showing me DOM selectors in JavaScript as a text content. Similarly, I can change that text content as well. So if I want to change that text content by using text content property, I can assign a new heading. Let's say I don't want this heading, I want a different heading. So I can do that as well. So I can do that like let's say hello DOM. If I see that, I can see the text content is changed. Similarly, I can add inner HTML if I want to add inner HTML text here. So if I want to add a let's say I tag as well, so that I can easily do with this inner HTML. So now I can add a children as a normal HTML tag. So as a group of element as well, I can add here. I can see it is hello DOM in an italic way. So this way, by using inner HTML, you can also add some HTML content as well. Normal text content, if you want to add a normal text content, so you'll be using text content property. So that will add only a text content just like that. So you can see it is adding I tag as it is. It is not adding or executing this I tag because we haven't specified that in inner HTML. So you have to specify inner HTML if you are specifying some HTML elements or tags as well. So this was the thing. Similarly, I can add any background color or any kind of styling if I want. So these are the things. It is up to you. First, we select the element by using any kind of selector we have learned, and then we apply any kind of operation we want to add there. So we can add heading dot style dot background to change the background color. Also, I can change the text color by using color property. Let's change the text color to red. If I do this, so it will change the text color to red. Now you can see that. So this was the thing. Similarly, I have different selector. Let's move towards that. Let's say if I have this p tag, which is having, let me just add para1 here, or not 100, it's para1. Let's say I have this second para, or let's say it is a div para2. Let's say if I have a span tag, or it can also be a p tag as well. Let's say I have a para3. Now if I want to select this para1, also let's add one more p tag, para4. I can add a class name here and I can access that class to get the element. So let's add a class, let's say para is a class, and I can add a class where I want to add this class. So let's say I want this para class in both these elements, which one is this p tag and the second one is this div tag. So I can do this. And if I want to select all the elements which are having the same class, so I can easily select them. Let's say para L, I have created this element, or let's say it is an array, so para ARR. Now I can easily get all those elements which are having the same class by using get element by class name, get elements by class name, get elements by class name. So inside this method, you can specify the class name which you want to grab. So I can specify para here because I want the para classes elements to be selected. Now if I console log this array, which is para array, now I'll be seeing all those elements selected here. Now you can see we have this HTML collection. Inside that we have this p.para and div.para. So, and the total length of this array is 2 because two elements are having the same para class. If I increase that 2 by 1, let's say if I select this one as a para class as well, so it will select this third element as well. Now you can see we have 3 elements. We also can select this fourth one, but I'll not be doing this. I just wanted to remove the class, not the element. Now similarly, I can access like the first element or the first indexed element here. So the first one is this p tag. So I can style this p tag by accessing its first item, and I can apply any kind of style. Let's say if I want to add a green color or a green text color, so I can apply that to the first element. I can see it is in a green color. Similarly, I can make it red if I want. That's more visible. I can see it is red. Similarly, I can grab all the elements or I can style all the elements by using a for loop, or I can select last element as well, just like using the length. If I add a length here, length property, so it is just like an array. You can use any kind of operation on this, what you do on the array as well. So I can use length property. I can similarly get the last element para arr, and the last element will be the length minus 1. So the para arr dot length minus 1 will be the index of the last element, and I can style that element by using style, and I can add a background color or any kind of styling I want. So let's say I want a blue color, so I can specify that. So that will be blue in color. You can see it is blue in color because the second item is the last one. If I increase one more class here, so this will be the last element, so it will style this element, the third element. Similarly, I can add a for loop on this array. I can add a for off loop or a for in loop, that whatever you want to add. I can declare a variable first that I'll be using as an index if I'm using in loop or for in loop, and I can specify para arr here. So para arr is the array we have. Now I can style all the elements by using this alm index. You can use this I as well. It is up to you, whatever you want to use. So it's up to you because we already know the for in loop, right? So I can use this para arr to grab the element from the para arr index. So I can use this I variable to grab the item from this arr or this array variable. Now I can let's say change the text color, so all will be changed. So all the text color will be changed. Now if I make all of them red, so both of them will be red. Now I can see both of them is red because we have applied all of that, so completely we have used it. That's why. Similarly, I can use for off loop here to do operation on single element as well. So I can use lm off, and I can directly use the element without calling it or without grabbing it from the index. I can see it is still doing the same thing. So this is the thing which you can apply on this element array of elements. So this was one way. Similarly, you can select the elements by their tag name as well. Like if I want to select all the p tags, which is this para 1 and para 4, so I can specify get element by tag name here. Get element by tag name. Get elements by tag name, and the tag name is not para, it is p. Now those will be selected, and if I see now, so now you can see para 1 and para 4 is selected and added a color in the text color. And you can see we have two elements. One is this p.para, which is having this p.para class, and one is a normal p tag. Because we use this get elements by tag name, so it is selecting all the p tags. If I use h1 here, so it will only select h1 element, so it will style h1 element only. I can see it is styling only h1 element. So you can use any kind of tag here. You can specify tag name here. Similarly, we have query selectors to select elements by using CSS selectors. So let's say I have this li here and I have item 1, and I can select one more item, item 2, let's say, and also I have ol tag. Let's say I have an ol list as well. So I have this ol. Let's say specify the ol item 1, ol item 2. So if I have this two lists, one is unordered list and one is ordered list. So if I see that we have these two lists, and let's say if I want to style all the li of unordered list to be in different color, so how can I do that? So I can select all the li only which are inside this ul tag easily by using css selector in this query selector method. So let me just specify the list arr here, list arr, and I can style the elements to different color. Let's say uh, pink, no, pink will be different. Yellow, let's add that. Let's add a background color yellow. Now I can use query selector all method, query selector all. This will select all the elements which are having this particular CSS selector. So it will select all the ULLI. So ULLI means all the elements which are inside the UL tag. So if I do this and if I remove this one, this console log, okay, para arr, okay. So let me just save one more time. Now you can see it is having the background color because we use this CSS selector. So that's why in this query selector it will only select all the elements which are inside UL tag. I can also specify that for OL as well. So if I want to select all the li or list items in OL tag. Similarly, I can grab a single li tag as well. Let's say if I have this class name item, and if I want to select all the OLLI which are having this item class, so I can do this as well. Similarly, I can use attribute selectors as well. Let's say I want to select all the elements which are having a specific title, let's say something. So I can use element selectors as well, or in attribute selectors as well. So I can use attribute selector and I can specify that here. So this way I can use element or attribute selector as well. So it will select this element only because this is having the same attribute which I specified here and the same value as well. So this was another way of selecting elements. We also have this query selector method only. So this can be used to select a single element only. So it will select only the single element by using a CSS selector. So let's say I have this, I want to select this para class, only the first para class element. So I can use this dot para here because dot is the CSS class here. So it will select only the single element. Now if let me just comment this out and let me just console log this list arr. I can change the variable name, but I'll not be changing that now. Now you can see it is only selecting the single element if I used this query selector. So it selects only the single element and query selector selects all the elements. So query selector all method selects all the elements which are having that specific class or that CSS selector basically. So it will select only single element. So you can use query selector to grab items from their ID. Let's say if I have this heading I want to select this heading, so I can specify hash here, because in CSS we use hash for specifying the ID styling. Now you can see we are styling or selecting this element. So this was another way of selecting elements. I hope you got something or some idea about how you can select elements by using different kind of selectors in JavaScript. So this is it for this video. I hope you got something. Thank you for watching. Let's meet in the another one.